experiment, see how well some of this works. I already sanded down a couple spots here because I have some Lifetime mixed up because I was working on the door over here. So you see some of this stuff around the window. I'm not sanding it down very far, but for instance, like this right here. Just gonna, this will probably mess up the sandpaper a little bit, getting through the caulking. But anyway, so I'm just gonna sand down to like that kind of point. And I just want to get a picture of some of this stuff. I'm not gonna go all the way up, but just what I can reach from the ground. And put the Lifetime on, and I'm gonna see how that works. So I wanted to record this just so I have the comparison. There's spot before, partially sanded. All right. Thing here you can see already after I put this on, those areas are where it's soaking in, where I sanded really well. And then up there, I actually painted over top of this, and I had not sanded it. And you can see where it's not soaking in. This, I'm not sure what the heck happened there, but I'm gonna sand that a little bit more and put some more on. It seems to be soaking in well. A couple things from my last talk about this I want to kind of go back on is I don't think, I think this did stain that a different color, just reacted in a really weird way. You can see along the bottom of the vinyl here, well maybe you can see, a little black marking. I'll wipe that off with water, which I think it should rinse off fine, especially if I move fast. Clearly they do have some sort of a, look at this, will have to be sanded down a little more. This right here, have to be sanded down a little more. They do have some sort of dye or pigmentation in this, in addition to just preservative. So, anyways, we'll see how this comes out in a little bit. I sanded up there a bit more. See how that comes out in a few hours. You see another spot, so there's a spot that I did not sand at all and put some stuff on. There's a similar spot that I sanded down, put some stuff on. Might need to sand more down here, or I think that'll just come out lighter anyways. And so on and so forth. And you can see the difference between where it soaks in and where it doesn't soak in. This whole area, all along the bottom of this board and then up the side, was kind of light colored. So the darker wood seems to appear to show something faster. And again, we'll see, because this does have some kind of pigment in it now. As this dries, whether or not that's going to show, obviously. I really don't want to have to sand the whole thing down and start over. That would be a giant pain in the butt. And I really don't want to just repaint it, which would be the other alternative, if it turns out that this is going to darken more. But we'll see too. As the sun hits it and so on and so forth, the drips and so forth, I think, should fade. But we will find out. So that's that. About 6-7 hours later, you can see definitely a color difference from where the second application was. Looks like this is blended in fairly well, in that the part that was sanded down has darkened pretty well. Here, a little bit more mixed results, but still it's working essentially. You have the splattering, creating a color change. But of course, if you see these other splatter marks, that's just from the rain recently. So it might need to dry out more. We'll see how that goes. I'm gonna give it a little time. I'm probably not gonna do anything else with this for like a couple months, actually. You see that? I mean, that's much more obvious. The area that I sanded is still pretty faded comparatively. Like I said, at this point, I would call it mixed results. Although, I mean, the area that I sanded and recovered is darker, but it's kind of hard. So I'm going to give it a couple months, probably, or at least a month before I do anything more. There's where I went over actually a part that had not been sanded down. So you can see how that didn't affect, but didn't affect the nearby wood. What the solution might be on this, I was thinking about it, and it was sort of one of those, well, duh moments. Is to say, like, if I want to do something like this, to sand not the entire house, but like just a whole section of board and completely reapply just in that area, so that you don't get as much double up darkening. Or it might be that I just need to, and again, so this could be still wet, but it looks like the shading on the freshly sanded parts here is as dark as this stuff that wasn't sanded at all and had some over top of it. I'm gonna just keep experimenting on the back side of the house, possibly over those next couple months, very likely, just because I can never resist that kind of thing. But we'll see what the overall effect is long term. See if, you know, if stuff fades together or not, and we'll go from there. But I think actually what's interesting, I think what you're looking at there though, where it's doubled up, this is much more the color that I expect in the long term compared to what's going on up here. I don't know. So we'll give it time, and I'll mess around with a little bit more on what's going to be the back side of the house at different points, and keep seeing how it develops. Here is, this is the inside door, the barn door that I just did one side on. And again, it just rained on this, so it got wet again, which might affect the color. I find it very interesting, just the differences between the wood, how much color you're getting out of it. This one you would almost think this board was completely untouched except for that little bit up there. Still obviously has a lot to do with what's going on with the grain of the wood. But I'm going to go and put this inside because it's getting late and I have to head off to cover a rodeo. And then I'll do more on this tomorrow, hopefully. So that should be cool.